Shalom, shalom. This is the brother Emma coming to you with another lesson. In the name of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, first and foremost, as always, I want to say Kahara Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakaha Dash. As always, double honors goes to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who were well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all the brothers out there, the sincere brothers pushing this word and truth and sincerity. And that's it doesn't matter what camp you're in. If you're teaching what's supposed to be taught, which is the correct doctrine, man, that's been taught by us, by the apostles, man, then that goes out to you as well. So I just want to do a quick hit on this one. There's so many things you can talk about right now when it's concerning the fall of Babylon, man. It's crumbling spiritually and physically before our very eyes, man. The thing that was going on with Niger, France, and how, these so-called African nations are turning their backs. Russia's turning up the heat because that's going to be a major player in World War III. The degradation of society, especially in Babylon, man, it's crumbling. They're looking weak and sad out here, but those are many other things we can do lessons on. But I want to just talk about this one real quick. So it says a leprosy alert in the US. It says cases of the biblical disease have doubled in the last decade, with Central Florida considered a hotspot. And a lot of wickedness is going on in Florida, man. That DeSantis is doing some wicked stuff over there, man, especially concerning Israelites, man. Banning immigrants from doing particular jobs in that, to the point where they've left the state, and now that things aren't getting done. Look, he does some things that we can agree with when it comes to that rainbow business, man. But ultimately, he's just a wicked Edomite, man. And the Lord's touching this place, man. I say slowly but surely, but I was going to say slowly but surely, but it's in the Lord's time, man. Which is the hands of a leprosy patient at treatment center in Tulia, Madagascar, January 29, 2011. So that's an old picture, right? And, concerning leprosy, really, we're going to get the scripture on it, man, in Exodus and that, but the definition, like all things when it comes to Esau, has been altered, man, has been changed, right? The definition biblically is talking about pigmentation, right? In the early, in the Old Testament. But now, Esau likes to change the definition of things, because if he was to keep it in the same definition, right, he would be known to be leprous. He would be known as what is a clean leper, man. So it says the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has warned that locally acquired cases of leprosy are on the rise in Central Florida, which accounts for 81% of reported cases in the state and a fifth of all cases in the country. Leprosy is typically brought to the U.S. by immigrants from areas where the disease is endemic, but more than a third of cases reported in the southeastern U.S. between 2015 and 2020 were acquired locally, the CDC said in a press release on Monday. The release cited one example of a man who sought treatment at a dermatology clinic for a painful rash that began on his extremities but spread to his torso and face. The man had not traveled either abroad or within the US and had no contact with immigrants or known leprosy patients, indicating he had acquired the disease in Central Florida. It says our case adds to the growing body of literature suggesting that Central Florida represents an endemic location for leprosy, the CDC stated. So now you can't blame the brown people coming in, right? And basically, you made a majority of them leave. It says the agency warned that travel to this area, even in the absence of other risk factors, should prompt consideration of leprosy in the appropriate clinical context. And what does that mean? What do they mean by that, man? The appropriate clinical context. You know, they're trying to tell you something because, like I said, man, we know that if you want to look at it now, there's two definitions to that. There's two diagnoses for that, man. Leprosy, also known as Hansen's disease, which is the proper name, has existed since at least 600 BC and today is most commonly found in Brazil, India, and parts of Africa and Southeast Asia. Thought to spread by prolonged contact with an infected person, it causes painful rashes and discoloration of the skin and can lead to muscle wastage, nerve damage, and paralysis. So this ain't good, man. It's a very painful and unsettling and uncomfortable disease, man. It says it had been curable with antibiotics since the mid 20th century, although patients can be left permanently disfigured or physically impaired if not treated early enough. That's all I'm going to read. I don't need to read the rest. But look, man, let's look at cases of the biblical disease, man. That's a sure sign, man. That's a sure sign, man. This the signs. You have to read into these signs, man. We're in the last days, man. But the Lord is showing His hand, and it's only going to get worse. Worse for the people on this earth, man. We're going to get it hard, but Lord willing, we're the elect, and the Lord's going to take care of us, man. Anyway, let's get into the scriptures. I'm just going to bring out a couple of scriptures, man. Right, So, Lord willing, it's going to be edifying. So, Exodus 4, it says, and Moses answered and said, behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, the Lord hath not appeared unto thee. So, he's arguing the fact that how the children of Israel are going to listen to him. Why would they believe him? Why would they believe that he has been why is the Lord dealing with him, basically? And the Lord said unto him, what? Because remember, not Moses. How many was it? How many men actually spoke with the Lord, man? When the scriptures talk about men who walked with the Lord, man. Abraham, yeah, Moses, Noah. Not many men. It says, and the Lord said unto him, what is that in thine hand? And he said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. So the Lord is showing the spiritual powers, man, by turning the rod from. And that's the Lord can do absolutely anything, man. The ultimate power, right? Some would call that magic, but it's not magic, man. It's just the power of the most powerful being from the beginning to the end. There is no end. He remembers the Ancient of Days. He has no beginning. He has no end. All powerful. So it says, verse 5, they that may believe that the Lord Yahweh of the they that believe that that Yahweh, the power of their fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob have appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, now put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. Right, so it's telling you turn, and that also indicates to you that obviously, the men of Israel, or the children of Israel, I should say, are not of the Caucasian persuasion, man. They're not brown. They're not they're not pale skin. They are of brown. They have melanated skin, brown flesh, man. Brown, different types, different shades of brown. Otherwise, how could it have turned leprous white as snow, man? Now, they don't. These Edomites call themselves white, so he couldn't have turned white to white. He said, and he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again, and he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. So there you go. There's that sign to tell you that it's not, his flesh was not white all over, right? So that, I just read that to make the point of the difference between what they deem to be leprosy and what the scripture says it is, right? So let me just get a couple more scriptures, man. I'm gonna close out. Got one quickly in apocrypha, man. Just a quick one. Second Ezra's 8:50 says, "For many great misery shall be done to them that dwell in the latter time." So let me read that again. "For many great misery shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." Now, the daughter of Babylon, man. That is the city of pride, man. That great city, man. In the scriptures, man. That is a place full of pride, man. And it's now that pride is turning into shame, because the rest of the nations are laughing at Babylon, man. All right. Second, what am I looking for? Yes, like here it is. Matthew 24, I'm close out here. Matthew 24:4 says, "And Yahweh shall answer and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." And that's already occurring, right? Between France and Russia. They're already saber rattling, man, talking about, acts of war, kicking the French out of Niger, and the French, what do you call it? Threatening, to take action and sanctions against Niger and other African nations, man. Russia as well, Ukraine and all that stuff, between them and Babylon and whatnot. So them rumors of war are already occurring, man. So it says, "And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." Right. So sometimes when people think about, when times are going to come to the end, that it's all going to be in one short space of time. We're in the end already, man. So these things are already happening. Look what happened to Turkey, man, with the earthquakes and all that. All right, all these wildfires and all that kicking off, man. This is the work of the Lord, man. All right. Let me see if I can guess one more, if I can just remember where it is. I hope I can find it. No, hold on. Let me see if I can quickly find this. Yeah. So, second Ezra 6:16, it says, "Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia! Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria! Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand." A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away an hungry lion in the wood, or may any one quench the fire in stubble when it hath begun to burn? May one turn again the sorrow that is shot, the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence. I love reading that, man. You know, that's the terror of the Lord, man. And these people are going to recognize that very soon. And they're already feeling it. But right now, they don't know who he is. They still don't know who they're dealing with, man. Anyway, that's all I got on that, man. So Lord willing, it's edifying. And I'm going to say, and shalom unto the next one. Shalom.